I'm Janeane. This is Outside the Box, and today's special guest is Danielle Eskenazi. Hi, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much. This is great.
I met you years ago, and I actually came to California just to do voiceover, and my agent said, do a wide variety of things. And as I mentioned to you, one of the things that stuck with me that you said was, to a whole bunch of us, have a full life. Don't just come in and have this one thing in your life. Do a wide variety of things unrelated to acting, because it just feels like you're having a more well-rounded life.
Right.
Right now, I launched Outside the Box because of all the people out of work, and I thought you could provide some insight into things that actors and actresses can do to stay positive.
For me, staying positive is being connected with other people. I think that's the most important thing, because we're all going through this. You're not, singled out. You're not the only one not working. You're not the only one not making money. So I think connecting with your colleagues and people in the business, and even outside of the business, just stay connected as much as possible. Now, obviously we can't go out and hug people in the middle of the street anymore. So there's, I do a lot of these Zoom things, and we talk about what's happening in the world, and how we could stay creative. And, there's a ton of things that you could do, for one, work on your body, things that you didn't have time to do before.
Yes.
Mentally and emotionally stay connected with people that are going through the same things that you are. It's just, you just have to keep really well-rounded in order to get through this. And, we've been quarantined for almost probably 3 months now.
Right.
So, it's sort of joining forces and keeping, alive, basically, and talking to the same people that have been going through the same things you are. I think that's the most important part.
Right, because we are social creatures, and we, as much as some people are introverts, we do need people. We need that connection. And I have to say, some days this has brought me a lot of joy to be able to talk to people from all over the world. And I never would have had the opportunity to meet people like this.
Right. It's true. Yeah.
You're doing workshops on also self-tape, I think, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of stuff, actually. This has brought so much creative outlet for me to get in touch with actors. And, as you know, I'm on Twitter a lot, and I, talk about, actually actors ask me a lot of questions that they couldn't do that in person. So it's a lot of back and forth and giving them a lot of knowledge behind the scenes in auditions and callbacks and stuff like that. So I try to keep them up to date on what's going on in the world. And I do a lot of these Zoom meetings with producers and ad agencies, and I get a lot of information and I bring it back to the actors because they don't know anything.
Right.
And honestly, Twitter is so important because, 12 years ago, we didn't have this outlet. You couldn't talk to a casting director or a director or a producer like we're doing now freely, so I always tell people, get on Twitter, really try to connect. I will give you as much information as I'm getting from what is going on right now. And it sort of calms them down a little bit, and to say, and gives them hope.
Yeah.
That's what I really want to do, is try to give people as much hope and not derail themselves with all the stuff that's going on in the world right now.
Yes. And for people that don't know, commercials are being shot a little differently right now.
Yeah, they're actually they're picking them up from TikTok.
Okay.
And they're doing a lot of home commercials. They're going into people's homes and they're dropping off lighting equipment and iPhones and mics and setting them up, and then leaving, dropping them off. They're all clean. And then the director zooms in on the actors and tells them and directs them.
I love it. That is so cool. Yeah.
And then they package everything up. They clean their part and drop it off with a PA that picks them up. And that's how they're cutting commercials right now.
I wonder if there's a certain level of comfort because, you know, when someone comes in and they're going to audition in front of you, there's a certain level of, you know, maybe jitters, maybe not, but doing it in your home, are you seeing a little less, like a little more comfort?
I don't know though, because they're like, is my home okay? Is it clean enough?
There's laundry.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
This painting is horrible behind me.
Right.
So I think the director will direct you, and you go with him in every room to see what will appeal to him as well. And the ad agency is most likely with him as well. It's just like you would be on a set.
Yeah.
So, except
That's amazing.
Virtually, yeah.
So how are people getting these gigs? How are they auditioning? Is it on Actors Access and LA Casting? And
It's on LA Casting. You know, we still work. So we will get the breakdown and we'll put it out to the agents and say, this is what we're looking for. And then they'll start submitting, and then we pick them out, and we figured out a way, actually, my camera operator, who's a tech genius, figured out a way to, when you Zoom people on auditions, and you know they're waiting in the lobby.
yes,
And bring them in one at a time, and the casting director could actually direct them. We take that Zoom of 30 people, let's say, and transfer it to LA Casting to send a link to the director.
Whoa.
So yeah, there's a lot going on as we're sitting around. We're trying to be as creative as possible, so when it opens up again, we're completely ready.
And for people that don't have agents, is it harder? Is it they have to be more creative?
Yeah, I mean, there is casting networks. I think you could self-submit, but when you're doing you know, as a casting director, when I'm doing a national network commercial, I don't even go there because there's so many submissions from agents.
Right.
You know, when you're doing union commercial, everybody's like, you know, thousands of pictures to go through.
I feel so bad for the actors and actresses that were used to perhaps waitressing or doing these day gigs or evening gigs so they could audition during the day. Do you have any insight into what they could be doing?
Yeah, I mean, you know, just because this is happening, your creative juices don't stop. You know, there's even improv classes online.
I saw that.
Take. Yeah, which is really cool. And you know, I offer classes once a month to actors, and you know, we work on dialogue, we work on what's expected from you, we work on self-taping, you know, so I kind of guide them through this pandemic and show them that they can audition and they can work on their craft as we're waiting around for things to open, because when things open, it's going to boom.
Yes.
Everybody's waiting for, you know, one sign to just go, okay, let's do it. And in my facility, we're completely ready and CDC safe.
Great.
To audition people.
That's great. Which goes back to what you said earlier, and what I feel I know works for me is you really have to take excellent care of yourself, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, whatever, to be ready, to not look and feel frazzled.
Yeah. And you don't want to go in feeling like, oh, I gained 20 pounds. And, you know, if that's what you wanted to do, right on, you know, if that made you feel better during this time. But if you want to go back to where you were, it's time now to sort of get moving a little bit and start working on yourself.
Yeah. I know that I love to write. I love to write scripts. So I'm trying to write short things that are not involving COVID, although I get an occasional idea. But I feel like writing is a great outlet right now for actors.
Yeah, and if you're not a writer, it doesn't even matter. You know, just write your feelings, write anything, just get them out of your head and put them on paper.
Yes.
So you're not bogged down with them.
And I saw that UCB and the Groundlings has a lot of free improv or even classes and other places. Are you seeing any new and different things from actors? I mean, I know some actors, they want to push on Twitter, but you have to ease up and be cool.
Yeah. You know, a lot of actors who kind of are green, I'm going to say, you know, they tweet me and say, you know, I want to come in for you. And I say, when the time comes, I'll look at your picture, and if you're available, I'll bring you in if you're right for the part. But yeah, I mean, there's an etiquette on Twitter that you just do. If you want to talk to a casting director or a director, you're not going to ask for things. You know, you're not going to say, "Hey, can you put me in your next movie?"
Right.
You just start talking to them so they get to know you and who you are. I've cast 2 people from Twitter that I was just talking to, and they never asked me for one thing. I just went to their website and their profile, which was really smart to do. And I was like, they're pretty good. I really like what they're doing. And they didn't have an agent at the time. And I put one of them in a national network commercial that ran a long, long time.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I was watching an interview you were doing. You were not born in this country, correct? You were born in France?
I'm an immigrant. Don't I look it? I'm an immigrant. I was born in Cairo, in Egypt. In Cairo. In Cairo.
So how many languages do you speak?
Well, when I was very young, I spoke Arabic. I spoke French, and I still speak French fluently. Italian, a little bit of English, and a little bit of Israeli.
And a little bit of Brooklyn.
And a little bit of Brooklyn. Yeah, that's what stayed. I'm from the Bronx. So after Paris, we left Egypt because we had to sort of escape because we were Jewish. And we went, and the Red Cross brought us to America. And I grew up there, basically in the Bronx. And then my dad worked for MGM, and he was transferred to California. Did you yourself ever want to go into acting? No, never. It's always scared me, actually. That's why I like bow down to the people that can actually go in front of the camera and do their thing and are amazing. Yes. I'm in awe of that. So I think that's one of the reasons why I became a casting director. It was so confusing to me how they made up these characters on the spot. And did such a great job, and it was incredible to watch. It's really interesting because the amount of copy sometimes you have to memorize. Obviously, commercial is shorter, but there's a lot that goes into. Well, pharmaceuticals are really long, and there's a lot technical. Yeah, very technical, and you have to almost sound like a doctor, but also as a human being as well. Giving that information. I remember getting really discouraged because I auditioned for something and I had to do EcoCast, and I knew my lines. I was off book. I went up to LA. I went to this place. I can't remember what it was called, but I recorded. I had a reader. He said, this is great. I felt good. I submitted it. And then next thing I know, SAG-AFTRA is making an announcement that it's a bogus company, and then they took the audition down, or project's not going through. And I thought, how discouraging. Wow. And never heard of that before. Yeah, it just, sometimes projects, I guess it wasn't necessarily SAG-AFTRA, but it was supposed to be. And the right paperwork wasn't filed. But I thought, okay, I'm going to leave my audition up for people to see. What do you say to people that get discouraged? You have to move on. There's nothing else you could do. It's out of your control. It's out of your hands. People make mistakes. When you walk into a callback and you have 8 people making decisions, once you leave that room, you leave that room. Yes. And you can't think about it in anything because it's out of your hands. It's out of your control. What you can control is yourself. And that's what people, they sit around and wait, like, I didn't get a call back. What did they think? And, let that go. It's not that important. There's going to be so many other auditions. And you know what? Honestly, it wasn't yours. And I hate saying that cliche, but somebody else worked as hard and it was their path and not yours at that time, and just make it an exercise as opposed to, did I get it or didn't I get it? Yeah. Make it an exercise that you're getting better and better as you audition. Yeah, I decided to not look at anything as a waste of time.
that,
Nothing.
that everything was going to help me grow and learn, and it would be a new experience. And what I learned was I could actually memorize a lot of copy. And
That's
if
great.
I worked at it and I figured out how to do it, record it into my phone. I was at the gym, I'd put my earbud in, say the copy, and so I learned the process of doing it so I could be effective the next time. And I decided I'm not going to beat myself up.
No, you can't.
You
Not
know?
in this business. Are you kidding? You
Right.
can't. You can't, because there's so many unknowns.
Right.
All you could do is do your job. That's all you
Yes.
could do.
What are there groups or places people get involved as far as networking right now for actors? I know you have different classes. And
Yeah, I have classes at the end of the month. You just go to my website and it'll tell you the classes that I have. But there's Judy Kane, who's really, really good, and I think she's doing some workshops. I always encourage actors to take improv. And improv really loosens you up and opens you up when directors are redirecting you. So improv is really important, and it's fun. Those are the things that you should look for: improv classes online.
Definitely. And laughing is good, and we need it.
Laughing, we need it. We need it, especially during these crazy. I mean, have we hit rock bottom or what? This is insane.
No, it is insane. I keep thinking, what's going to happen when flu season comes? Hopefully it
Oh
won't
my
be as
God.
bad.
You know what? It's going to be like nothing to us.
Right.
Flu.
Flu.
Just the flu. Who cares?
Exactly.
I think we could conquer anything right now. I think we're warriors. And I think, if we survive this, we can survive anything.
You bet.
Yeah, it's really true.
Yeah.
We're strong.
Where can people find out more about you?
You can go on my website. I've got all my commercials up, everything I've done. There's a little bio on myself. There's my classes up there. And I always encourage actors to do a website of their own. So if a casting director or director want to find you, they just go to one place and it's all there. Instead of IMDb is a little bit of a headache because they don't update it as much as they're supposed to. So just, keep on working on your website and change things around and do things with them.
One thing I didn't ask is, when you are reviewing headshots, what are things that really stand out to you, or maybe your turnoffs to you?
I don't personally, and that's not for every casting director, I don't really like the bright orange, green, lime green backgrounds. It just takes away from who you are. I really like theatrical headshots because they just feel more authentic to me. And sometimes people have like an orange background and they're wearing a red dress, or it's just so much to take in. So it's sort of just muted colors, or just I just want to see who you are. Eyes to the camera. Eyes are like everything to me. And that's what I usually like.
Okay. And one last thing, I didn't ask you, but I was seeing that you also coach kids. You work
I
with
do.
kids?
It's really fun.
It looks like it.
I never thought I have a 5-year-old, so I never thought that I could get into it because I have a 5-year-old at home and I'm like, but they're really professional. They remember all their copy. They're so willing to work and so willing to take redirection. And I did one yesterday with Joe Lorenzo, and there were like 23 kids on there, and they all read for me, and I was just like melting.
Oh,
it was really sweet, and it just brought such a smile, from what we're going through now, just to have those kids,
yes.
With that energy and that just so innocent. It just
I love that.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Because at some point along the way, as we become adults, we lose that sense of creativity, and all these insecurities pile up, and it's nice to have that playfulness.
Yeah, it's really sweet. It was so sweet. I didn't want to go. And they're like,
bet.
over. And I'm like, but wait a minute.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was really fun.
Well, I want to thank you so much. This has been really great.
Of course, my pleasure. Now I know what it is.
Now you know what it is. Thinking outside the box. Well, especially now, people have to really think differently about what they're going to do to take care of themselves, but how they're going to find work, or how they're going to stay creative and stay positive, because this has been such a tumultuous time with so many things.
But I also, me being who I am, I like to look at the bright side. It really made ourselves better people.
Yes.
And I looked at us in a whole different world. And I think we learned a lot about ourselves. And I hope that doesn't stop once we open up.
I hope not. I feel
Yeah.
like the things people are sharing with me are, even on my other show, that they're connecting more with their family and friends. They're kinder.
Yeah.
They're more compassionate, and they are knowing that, hey, I got to unplug now and go be present. And I
Right.
think we were going at this ridiculous speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were like running around with our heads cut off, getting emotional about the silliest things,
Mhm.
Everything is so big right now that all the little things that bother you shouldn't bother you anymore.
Right.
We have a lot more to handle right now.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. Well, thank you again. I've really enjoyed this.
I'm so glad you asked me to do this. This was really nice, actually.
Good. I'm so glad.